Welcome team meeting, September 2021.
Wow. Fast.
Has this year gone by fast or what?
We've officially made it through summer. The fair is over.
Fair is over. The nights get crisp and cool. It is one of my favorite times of the year because what happens when it starts getting cool at night? It's football
season.
And nothing's better than a football game and a cool night. So anyway.
College.
No,
High school.
NFL.
Oh, NFL.
NFL.
All of the above.
Come on.
Friday Night Lights.
All the above.
Friday Night Lights, Saturday football, NFL all day.
Yeah.
You just want an excuse to eat pizza.
Oh,
Eat pizza and watch games.
Ashley, you like football too? You love pizza.
There's food there, so I mean, yes, I'm there.
Ashley likes baseball, right?
Yes,
Aren't you
I
a
do like baseball.
Baseball, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get started because one thing about this year in 2021 is every single month the stats change considerably. Every month there's some new huge revelation with what's going on in the market. It used to be before you could check stats, once or twice a year, and it wasn't like, there were good updates, but now we're seeing stats 2 weeks after we do the stats, a week after, we're like, well, that's changed already. Well, that's changed already. So let's go ahead and dramatically move into it by doing this.
What?
We're getting into the stats.
4th of July.
That is like the 4th of July.
So happy September. Just the stats, August 2021. We're in September. We don't have September data, so we go to the last month's data. So anyway, so as far as homes sold, we are going to look and we're comparing year over year. August of 2021 with August 20. In August 2021, we had 263 homes sell as opposed to 374 last month. Last year, thank you. That's 30% down. Wow. So if things seemed a little slower, I did go to the title companies a few times on Friday in August, expecting it to be a zoo. It wasn't that crazy. And so visibly, I was able to see we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown. And these stats are kind of seeing that. So a 30% decrease, that's a lot.
So I have a theory on it.
Yes.
I think at the end, as it's coming down, I think a lot of people who were prompted to move to Idaho, I think we've seen the big surge. Like people who wanted to move as a result of COVID or whatever else, I think they moved. And so I think we're seeing a little normalcy. That's my feeling. But
how many of those, of our total sales are new move-ins? Would it be 30%? You think it's 30%?
It's more than that.
I would feel like it would be more.
Yeah, my client, 50% of my clients are out of state.
At least.
Out of state,
Yeah,
okay. So there you go. That's interesting.
Because I know a lot of people don't want to move here in the winter if they've never lived in Idaho in the winter.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see the stats of what's our local turnover for real estate year over year versus what our new people are. I don't know that stat, but that would be interesting to know what our basis is.
And I think the Idaho State economists track that, but they're like 1 and 2 years behind. So we don't really get to find that out real time.
Exactly. And that is frustrating because a lot of the big stats are way behind. We like to be cutting edge month by month stats. Let's go to the next one.
That was
Let's
dramatic.
go month to month here, day by day, week by week.
Yeah.
Just waiting for it. So anyway, here is a breakdown of where all the homes are that are currently on the market and
no, this is
sold. Sorry, that are currently sold
in August.
This is a breakdown of all of them and where they are in price. We consistently are seeing that 500,000 and under is really the majority of our market, and it's really between 250 and 500,000. Most of our market's moving in that range. But look at this. This is something that we've never seen in past years, and that is this range from 700,000 plus. We have that market. What we're seeing, though, how many people have noticed how many homes are coming on the market 850,000 plus?
Brian did mention the other day he did a couple CMAs on homes we have coming up on listings, and he had to do CMAs 3-4 times because he didn't believe the data. He said, there's no way this home is 650. And then it came out, he said, but all the data shows it. Yeah.
Yeah, never before have we had so much inventory of houses,
In
and
that
it's
price
changing
range.
in above 850,000.
Now, I would say that I think that because we've seen such a high price point come in the last while, I think though that will drive, because we do historical, right? The comparables are historical. If people aren't going to keep up on that price level, it's still showing the comparables you can get that value. But is it? I mean, it's a funny time.
Well, that's why we watch Days on Market, because it will tell.
I thought you were going to say Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Lives. Nope. Haven't watched that.
As
These
the real
are
estate
the days of our
turns.
lives.
These are the days
Like
of our
Sands
lives.
of the Hourglass. That's true. So
If he doesn't watch it, how did he know that part?
That is a good point.
I do
Good
not know what you're
point,
talking
Brett.
about.
Good point.
I can tell you also watch.
I've just seen it once or twice. I mean,
Watch what? Oh,
yeah.
tables have now turned.
Right.
Oh my God. I wish I could think of names of the people, and then it would be funnier. Okay, so here's where they are. Hope, yes. I'm thinking of the old dude.
Yeah, I can't remember it.
Anyway, look at the average price there. So as we're moving through, and days on market, it's really low, and it's really even low in all of the new stuff that's selling. But it's not that's of what's selling, right? That's the most competitive. So the stuff, if you're priced right, it seems to be moving. We're going to see a lot of high days on market in price ranges above $800,000, I think.
So, Chad, I think interesting here is that 100 to 150.
Yeah.
Average days on market, there were 4. We had 11 under 200,000, which for a long time, we didn't have any under 200,000.
Yep.
So that is an interesting stat to me as well.
Yeah, and higher days on market, which means what? Why would we see higher days on market for our lowest price stuff?
More inventory, maybe?
That, and they're trying to go higher than the market says.
Mm-hmm.
And that just proves it's not a magic market. People are putting stuff on thinking, oh, well, let's see what we can do. It's not a magic market. The market is still a real market. If you list something super cheap, which, it used to be our average sales price, but now that's super cheap, you're still not going to get it.
So
It's
what's
gonna
weird
go.
to me looking at those numbers is you look at the 1.5 million, and it's 57 days on market, and then you go to 650 to 699, and it's sitting at 73.
Yeah.
So that's a little interesting that would be higher
Yep.
than
The
the highest
550
price.
house is trying to price at
Yeah,
650.
exactly. So it's
Yeah.
probably just one property that sat for a minute, but
Could be.
Yeah, it's all about just homes that are really just being overpriced.
Yeah.
So they're taking a little
Oh,
longer.
yeah, absolutely.
Price
The
or
price.
condition, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because the condition
Well,
of
and you
that
can see
good
that the count
price.
for homes was 1, so that
Yeah.
one home sat on for 57 days.
Yep.
And it's right at the 750, so it probably pushed up from the 7 to 749 bracket into the 750, and that's why it's the only single one in there.
Accurate. Yep. All right, so let's look at year to date, how that's looking as far as homes sold. So our first stat before was August, comparing with August. This is where we are year to date versus year to date. So as of the end of August, we had 1,497 homes that were sold in Bingham, Bonneville, and Jefferson counties, as opposed to 2,066. Okay, 27.6% decrease. Remember at the beginning of the year, we were starting to see the decreases in numbers. We're like, we don't really know if this is right or not, but time will tell. Well, guess what? We now know we are not selling as many homes this year as we were last year. 30% decrease in homes, which is interesting because a lot of other things have changed so much with that. So let's talk about, and that's a 27.6% decrease. So let's talk about price. This is one of the craziest stats that we've all been a part of this year.
I think this will get less crazy because we're getting into August of last year when it started to be nuts.
and this is just monthly, right?
This is month
August
over month.
2021
And
compared with
August.
August 2020.
We hit that 300 mark in August, and that's when we all went, whoa. Yeah.
And now it's 387.
Yeah. Well, just think if next year we're saying 487. I mean, that's just crazy to think of. Well, guess what? Crazy happened, and now we're talking about that now. So
Do you think that that's one of the big driving forces as to why? Do you think that's one of the biggest driving forces as to why we're selling less homes, or is it more of the supply and demand?
Well,
Both.
it's both. This price going up so high is mainly a reflection of really, really low inventory. If you don't have much of anything, then everybody's going to fight over it, and it's going to go high. If you have a lot of something, then guess what? It's not a big deal, and you don't fight over it. This is totally a reflection of record low inventory. Remember last year we were thinking we might, for the first time ever, hit under 100 houses on the market in Bonneville County, and guess what? It went to 70, it went to 60, and then it was in the 50s, and we saw prices skyrocket like this. So 28% increase, that seems to be our number, is 28%, 30% in 1 year. Not a sustainable number over time. Yeah, I mean, Boise, Salt Lake, they've seen like 15% stuff over time. I mean, we haven't seen many places do 28% increase. And we'll talk about how we compare nationally with other places.
We've always been so much lower nationally, and now I think it feels so fast because we all of a sudden just caught up with the national averages.
Yeah.
So it was, but all of a
And
sudden.
typically we're a year or two behind.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yeah.
So
Well,
one thing's on that last slide, Chad. One thing I say to my buyers, if you guys remember last year, all our buyers were saying, it's so crazy. Everything's so overpriced. If you bought last year, you made $85,000 on average.
yeah.
And you still
Last
felt at
year.
that time they were overpaying.
And they felt like they were overpaying last year. So it's still a good time to buy
yeah.
because it's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, right now in this market, if you're within $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000, that shouldn't be your decision maker on buying the property or not. Obviously. So,
Mic drop, Chad.
yeah. Or should I drop that?
No, not that.
Okay, so let's look at some national numbers, okay? These are numbers that are provided by FHFA, Fair Housing, House Price Index, their quarterly report. So they're going to be comparing quarters year over year. And when they did this is interesting. Notice, and I'm colorblind, but I can even see this. Idaho is darker than any other state. And this isn't a report just for Idaho. This is a national report. So this report is basically the higher you go, the darker you are. And Idaho is not just number one, they're by far number one. They've had the biggest price change by state. Appreciation, okay?
Look at the next one is Vermont. That's the next one that's even
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
No,
20.
Utah.
Yeah, Utah's 28, Arizona 23,
Is it Vermont 28?
no,
23.
23.
Yeah.
Those are all in the 20s though.
But the thing with this is their prices were already higher than ours to begin with. Like
Yeah.
Jess said, ours are just catching up.
We had
Yeah,
a lot of
we're
room to
catching up.
move.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah.
we were, super low, which is why we had the influx of buyers come in the first place.
Yeah, high-priced markets is this area here, and they're all 20%.
Still crazy.
Here's what's interesting. Alaska, single digit. Louisiana, single digit. I mean, there are markets that are, nobody's negative in this market. Oh, Montana, they're big, 23.7%. But anyway, Idaho's 37.7.
So everyone did not flock to Alaska.
That's right. That's right. Even though I do have people that have lived here and friends that have moved to Alaska.
I have a client right now, and they're selling to move to Alaska.
Yep.
So it definitely,
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's the place to be affordable right
better
now.
deal, huh?
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So anyway, it's interesting to kind of see this and to see where it's going. My prediction, which I don't have the best track record on predictions because the market doesn't care about my predictions. My prediction right now is I don't think we're going to ever see Idaho, that low price state again. I think we saw Montana a few years ago. I remember going there and looking at property. I'm like, man, why is it so much more expensive than Idaho? But it wasn't that much more expensive than these places. They just caught up. And there wasn't a lot of economy or jobs that created that. It's just people wanted to live there. And we're going to see the same thing in Idaho. So, our prices are the new normal.
It will
I
be
think.
interesting for next year. Will it become a normalized thing, or because this is year over year, so that will be an interesting stat next year.
Yep. Okay, so going back to this report here, so this is the percent change in house prices and you're, again, going by state, Idaho is number one, 37% in 1 year, 112% in 5 year, and since 1991, 441%. Utah's been seeing this. They're higher on the overall time frame, but man, we've caught up to them pretty quickly because they were ahead of us for a long time and we weren't going very fast with them. So if you look at the report, we're seeing the western states very much involved in this. And I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, we're suddenly now one of the top real estate markets in the country.
Idaho's not a secret anymore.
Idaho is definitely not a secret anymore.
Grayson.
Yep.
We got a few people that
Spoiled
figured it out, and here they are.
Yep. Okay, so, and then as we look here on cities, so basically if you look at their 1 year, Boise City.
I think they had to have, for it to make this stat as a metropolitan area, I think it had to have over 500,000 or something in the metropolitan area.
So nothing in Southeast Idaho would have qualified for this statistic, but Boise is, which is kind of weird to see Boise City because we never refer to it as Boise City. But Boise's number one in the country, 132% over the last 5 years. I mean, how many people do you even see close to that?
So you know what I really like about that stat is if you think about what the average time you stay in a home, it's 5 to 7 years. If you bought a house 5 years ago in Boise, you have your house appreciated 132% in the 5 years you owned it.
Yeah, it's
And
awesome.
Not a bad investment.
Not a bad investment, Jeremy.
On other people's money, because you probably borrow
Yeah.
most of that investment money.
That's true. That's true. All right, so let's look at year-to-date market overview as far as average price. We're seeing very similar things here. 2020 through August of last year, the average sales price was $274, so a little lower the month over month, which you see that. And then average price so far has been averaging, if you take January through August, $368,000. So, and that seems to go in line with the average home is about that price as well. Tell me what kind of home you can buy for about $360,000 to $380,000 right now.
5 bed, 3 bath.
5
Yeah.
bed, 3
2,400
bath.
Your
square feet
average, yeah.
on a third of an acre.
How many square
Exactly.
feet?
Probably a quarter of an acre.
2,500 square feet.
About, yeah.
Two
Two
garage.
car- two
not
car
three.
garage.
Two-car
Two
garage,
car.
not a three.
A third
Yep.
car is going to cost
Probably
you.
a quarter of an acre, probably not a third.
Probably not a third, yeah. You'd be up at the higher end if you got to
And
the
if
third,
you have a
but-
3-car garage, you're probably closer to 2,200 square feet. If you have a 2-car, you're probably closer to
Yes.
2,500 square feet.
Probably older than 10 years.
Yeah,
I was
probably
going to say, how does that
1995
compare
or
to
older.
brand new right now?
You're having to get this, if you want new, you have unfinished basements, right?
Yeah.
On an eighth
and
of an
even
acre.
so, I mean, that's
Yeah, honestly,
pushing
the-
it for a new build.
Yeah, the new with unfinished basements are about $375 minimum right now, even with
So-
unfinished basements. So
Yeah. So 34% price increase year over year. Let's go back and look at this historically. Year over year, where are we comparing? Idaho Falls. If you want to compare us with the biggest cities in the country, we're compared, like this is what Austin, Texas is doing right now. They're the only ones that have seen our type of growth. And if you were to take smaller cities, you know, we're at the top of those lists for sure.
So, Chad, about 4 years ago, Austin was ranked as the #1 move-in place. They had 5 people a day moving to Austin on average.
Yeah.
And so, Boise and us were still beating them.
Yep. All right, so average sales price. Let's talk about list to sold percentages. So August list to sold percentage, 100.4% in 2020. 2021, 101.8% was the average list to sold percentage. So again, that is a reflection of a very strong seller's market. Not a lot of inventory. People
But
have
it's
to
come
fight
down
over
a little
things.
bit because it was at what 104,
104?
Yeah, so
Yep, that's definitely down. So
Now,
which-
if you put that in money, which about how much do you offer over? If our average sale price is $368, almost 2%, that's almost $7,000.
yeah, it's like 5 to 10 grand on
Yeah,
average right
over,
now.
yeah.
Over ask, yeah.
And then let's go to this next one. Then I'll make another cool point that I was researching.
But also, sorry, backtracking to that though, how much you go over that list to sold, it depends on where the house started in the first place, right? So even though we're saying average is 5 to 10K, to go above list price, that depends on where that seller started in that range of where their realtor told them it was worth in the first place. Because your listing agent will tell you it's worth between 300 and 320K, and depending on where you list in that range depends on that list to sale price ratio.
Which is why you have to have an agent
Yeah.
who understands that.
Yeah.
Because if a home's been on the market 45 days without a price drop, you don't want to probably offer over 2 or 3% of list price. You don't have to. In fact, you can probably
Go under.
be under. More than likely, you will go under.
Yep.
So, yep. So it's all just kind of navigating this market. Let's look at year to date. So year to date, list to sold, 99.9%. Okay, 2021 year to date, we're 102.6.
So that's
Again,
dropped too, though, because that was at 105, right?
Yeah.
The list
yeah.
is sold before for
Last
the year. Yeah,
Last month when we were talking year to date.
I think so.
Yeah, it was higher for sure. I don't remember the exact.
Yeah.
So
Well, and isn't the MMC average actually higher than this 102%?
So thank you. I was just going to bring that up. So I was looking at our listings sold, and we are averaging 2% more than the market. So we're 2% more.
It's because we're awesome.
It takes,
a lot
there
of
is
work.
still strategy involved in real estate. If you
Yes.
do not have strategy and you don't have an agent who knows strategy, then you just ride the market. Our goal is to outpace through strategies, marketing, good advice.
Yeah, and that's a huge part right now because there are some agents who might be selling a home for 98% of the market price. And so if you get a good deal on a listing and you drop the commission and you're getting 98% of list price or 104% of list price with us,
Your net.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're paying a lot more.
Yeah, our commission is an investment. It's not a cost, for sure.
And it's hard for people because when you buy things, we typically look at cost. How much is it going to cost me to find the best deal? In the service industry, you're looking for return. If you're wanting a good attorney, then you have to pay who's going to give you the biggest return on the amount you pay. If you want an accountant, if I pay you $500 to prepare my return, are you going to give me $1,500 in tax savings? And if I use you as a realtor, am I going to net more with you than I am with another agent? In real estate, it's who are you going to net the most with? And the average sales price is over, 100%, but we're 2% over that average with our team, which is
It would be
a
interesting
really
if
huge
sellers
thing.
started to ask what the listing agent's average sale price list to sell would be. That would be especially the ones that tend to cut their commission. You will probably be shocked at how much you might lose.
Well,
and you got to go up against our professional negotiators who are going for the lowest possible price for their buyers.
Yeah. Well, and have you ever heard of you get what you pay for? I mean, do we find that in our life many times? In the service industry, you definitely get what you pay for. So anyway, list of sold price, 2.7% increase. And let's talk days on market. I think that's you.
Sweet. I get the laser?
Oh, yeah, you got the laser.
Sweet. Days on market. The leading indicator on what the market's doing and where it's going right now, right? So last August, we had 36 days on the market. This year, we had 16. What does that mean exactly, days on market?
Well, is this going from list to sold or
List
pending?
to pending, right?
Okay, yeah.
So it's only available to customers during that time frame. And so last year we had 36 days. You go out and shop a little. This year, 16. You got to act a lot quicker. Half the time.
That blows my mind because last year we were just crazy. We got to go see this house today. We got to
Yes.
go hard. And now we're kind of like, we could go see 2 today and 2 tomorrow, but they're just disappearing fast. I literally can't believe that stat, even though
and
it's
now
written
too,
right there.
compared to last year, we weren't able to, a house would come on and we'd have to show the buyer that second. Now it's like we have 3 or 4 that we can actually look at, which is weird because the decrease, but I mean, obviously somewhere inventory is increasing.
Those are the stats. You're going to find out why that is, right? This is historical.
Yeah.
We have present data that's going to explain why that's happening. which is a good thing. We're glad that's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's good to trust the numbers, right? You can't just say, oh, it feels different. I have to act differently. Well, historically, what are we actually doing? So we're not guessing as much because you pretty much have to guess.
Well,
Chad
and
has some
that's
good
the benefit
guesses.
of working with our team
Crystal
is
ball.
the learning, right? These guys, we are
Yeah.
learning to rely on the stats, not rely on the emotions, rely on the stats.
That's right. So average days on August last year, that we already reviewed that. So year to date, it has increased a little bit, right? So you do have a little bit more time. Those 4 days now feels like a month.
It really
We
is.
can actually breathe a little.
We got time.
But it's still way shorter than last year, which you're right. It felt like it was tighter. So we're just getting used to it. Is that
Yeah.
bottom
We're
line?
just in better shape now.
That's right. That's right. Way better shape. So current inventory, last month there was 256. Now, 294. So we have 16% more homes on the market this month than last
Which
month.
is why you
Which
have
seems
options.
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it might not be, but it is, especially when I don't know if you know this, but the 16%, how many are in like that average price versus the higher prices, if that makes sense.
Let's
Yeah.
lead right into that.
Casey, great point.
Like read all the segue.
But before we switch to that, man, that absorption rate, love seeing that.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
still low. That's still way
low.
low. It should be
Low.
higher.
Just think how the market will be, because we really want to be a balanced market's 5 months ish.
5 to 6 months.
So we have a long ways to wait
Yeah.
before we're even close to a balanced market.
But that's
Yeah.
still exciting.
yeah,
It's getting a
is
little
exciting.
better for buyers, still great for sellers, right?
Yes.
So if no
absolutely.
homes hit the market, the number of buyers today ready to go, all of the homes available would be gone in a month and 1.6 months. It should be 5, like Chad's saying.
And
So
we've been
we're-
historically in weeks. The past 6 months, we've measured that in weeks.
Yeah, that's right. So here's Casey's point. Where are these homes that are available? Look at this. Awesome. There is a bunch. And look at the current days on market. Increasing, right?
So
16
still the
or
homes
20
that are coming
days.
on the market are in the average price range for the most part.
Yeah.
I really love the 100 to 100. Remember when we couldn't find one under 200? There's 14 under
Which is
200.
crazy.
Insane.
It's so crazy.
and the days on market's still high.
Yeah.
They're still overpriced. And what's interesting here is you have most of our market is really only in slides 2, 3, and 4. It's so spread out in price range.
But it's like a breath of fresh air for a buyer right now saying, okay, I don't have to buy something and regret it in a day or two. I can look at a few houses because there's 62 houses available in my price range, right? 65. And they're sticking around for a minute so I can take a look at them.
There was one point, we had almost 62 houses total on the market. Remember that?
That's right.
That was rough.
Now we have 62 available just in one price range.
In a
3 to
really good price range.
400,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much is a payment in that price range approximately?
300 to 400,000.
Yeah, I would
300
say
to
about
400.
1,600.
1,600
Yeah,
bucks.
1,500.
So fairly affordable.
yeah.
So there's
yeah.
some inventory. There's
And
good
you can
rates.
get a lot more for $1,600 a month buying than you can renting.
That is for sure.
300 to 400.
Yep, 300 to 400,000. You're 1,600 bucks. We can get into details on that. Bingham, Bonneville, Jefferson County. Currently, there's 512 homes pending. Of those homes, we don't know what they're going to sell for, but from the ask price, there's $396. Based on our asked to sold price, there should be a percentage higher than that, right? What was that percentage at 1.6? You just went over sold the list price. But 20 days on the market.
I was going to mention, notice that the average days on market of the homes that are pending are the lower, it's the average one. So is it better to list a house high and kind of experiment with the market, or is it better to go in at the right price?
Go in at the
Always
right
right
price.
price, yeah.
Yeah.
Always the right price. Yeah, because we're still 20 days right there. The ones that are priced right and in good shape, they're selling. Here's just the Idaho Falls area. Current homes on the market active are 174. or 4.4 weeks. So we've got a month of inventory. There's it feels like it too, doesn't it? There's just more options available right now in every price range. This is just Idaho Falls, right, Jessica? So that last one you saw was all of the Snake River Valley. This is just Idaho Falls, and there's 8 houses under 200,000, 22 under, 30 under 300,000. 30 right now. That doesn't include the 500 pending in different price ranges. So
There's over 100 below $500,000.
That's crazy.
We were like 100.
Yeah,
we used to have
nice.
100 in every price.
Oh, we were so afraid
Yeah.
when we hit 100. We're like,
Yeah.
So here's just the market overview just for the city of Idaho Falls. There's 332 pending, and the average price is $394 with a little lower days on the market. So if you're right in the city of Idaho Falls, you got to act a little quicker, but not as much, right? This is an interesting slide that we try to go month over month this year because we're seeing such a change on the year to date and our current inventory. We wanted to see exactly what the days on the market were month over month, and we're still seeing a decrease, right? But our pendings are 20 right here, right? 20 days right here. And so if our leading indicator is days on the market, how long is it going to take a home to sell? We have increased a little bit, and we have more inventory that has to sell. So we may be seeing a little bit of a breather for buyers to have more options. But look at the prices month over month.
Well, and now, I mean, we're not competing against 10, 15 offers. We're competing more 3 or 4, and you don't have to go that 20, 30K above asking compared to last year at this time. So.
Excellent point. Great. So overall, the market's great. Houses are fairly affordable. There's more of them. It's still a good time to sell, still a good time to buy. And it's a good time to buy because interest rates are still low.
Hey, go back to that last
thing.
one. Anybody notice anything really interesting on the pricing?
The price dropped in August. It went down.
And July.
And
July
and
and
July.
August, we had the average.
So average sales prices dropped the last 2 months.
Yep.
Did anybody see the article of what's happened to Boise's market the last 2 months? They've dropped in average sales price as well. So they're kind of the same things
Which I
happen.
feel like leads back to Jess where she said, I think our influx of buyers have already came in. And so now maybe more it's local people
And more inventory.
and more inventory. Yeah.
Yep, supply and
For
demand.
that higher price.
I would caution that 1 month over month doesn't tell the whole story.
Oh, no.
It doesn't mean it's going to trend that way for the next year and keep going down. I think it's just giving us a breather.
All
We're
it
not
is-
as tight right now with buyers and prices.
It's an eyebrow raise.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's a
It's
good thing to start watching, right?
yeah.
Let's watch that.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, and also
really good.
previously all summer we were offering higher than list price, right? Like way higher than list price, 20, 30K because there were so many multiple offers and because inventory is lower. But because inventory is higher and the buyer pool has dropped a little bit, I don't think that's indicative of the whole market shifting down. I
Right.
think it's just leveling out, which
Maybe
is what
not
we want.
going up 37% or
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Well, like you said, we can't sustain that.
Right.
We're going to have to see the pendulum swing
Yeah.
a little more to the middle. And this might be a leading indicator.
Yeah.
As Jeremy said, let's
It's
watch
a-
that.
It's a relief.
Yeah.
It's a relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been running hard. We need
Thank
to-
you. We need it to slow down.
That's right. Awesome. Anybody else on that one?
I mean, it had to have a breather because if you look at May to June, it jumped 36,000. And then you immediately had that trending down from, 399 pushing 400 to 390 to 388. It wasn't going to do, at least in my opinion, another jump of 36,000. You'd be 436,000 as your average price. That would be insane.
The hum of all of this for me is the drop in days on market with the drop in price. That's a interesting. Let's watch
That's why
that.
I think you can't take 1 month and
Can't
say
take 1
this is
month.
the new normal.
Right.
But as we watch that trend, and we'll keep you guys posted.
So even though it's a seller's market and we all have been crazy frenzy and buyers have been like, oh my gosh, it's overinflated, it's still good to buy a house.
Still
I just have to
good.
keep putting that back on. It is still good to buy a house. It's still a great investment. It's still a good place to put your money.
Awesome.
Well, and there are some people who were, I think we've mentioned this previously, but there were people who had bought 3 or 4 years ago in those lower price ranges. And people who are buying right now, some of them are actually matching or have a pretty close monthly payment to the people who were, but the houses are more expensive, and it's because of interest rates, right? That's really, it's actually never been more affordable to buy because of interest rates. And
Well,
you
and
need to
then the
focus on that
equity
too.
you have in your home too, you take that, use it as a
Exactly.
down payment, and drops your payment
Exactly.
even more. So,
Yep.
yep.
Great points.
So even though it's a seller's market, it's not doom and gloom.
It's
Not
the most
doom and
affordable
gloom.
time to buy than it has been in, 50 years?
Yep.
Right?
Hunter,
Great segue.
what
Yeah,
can you tell us
you guys
about
stole
the
my
market?
thunder a little bit.
Are rates going to stay low?
Yeah, I get asked all the time, what are rates doing? Where are they trending? And, the rates are a reflection of the market and the economy. So we look in August, jobs came in a lot lower than expected. The number of jobs, came in almost 500,000 less than what was expected. So that means in September, rates are staying extremely low and affordable. And it seems like we're in a sweet spot right now, right? Homes are leveling out a little bit. Interest rates are really low. So this might be a great time to pick up a good home at a great monthly payment, great interest rate. Moving forward too, like I was saying before, the economy has a big play in these interest rates. So with, this variant kind of ticking up a little bit and COVID cases, it seems like they're on the rise. That's going to lead for a very good quarter 4 in lower interest rates. So that's kind of what we have on the radar with Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, at least kind of hanging at the 2.8, 2.9 mark.
So, are you saying they might go down even more?
I think they're just going to hover a little bit. Some say they may go up a little bit, but even that's at maybe 3 1/8, 3 1/4. And that may not even happen, which is still extremely affordable. So to Ashley's point, these monthly payments are staying very low despite the high prices. And that seem like they're tapering out a little bit more. So
That's great.
yeah.
Awesome. It's a good time to talk to you and get pre-approved.
Yes, call
Yeah,
me.
holy cow.
I think my number's on here somewhere. Oh yeah, right there, big and bold. So call me. Would love to chat with you guys.
There it is.
And Hunter, is this a picture of your little brother?
Yeah, I think we might need to get this updated, right? That was me 10 years ago, actually. So we'll just
That
go
was
ahead
Hunter's
and
high school picture.
it was,
Back
We'll
when
have
the
to get that
interest rates were
updated.
higher.
Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah, we
right.
might.
We might
yeah.
need to update that one. I will mention that you do live in Bingham County, and that is a Shelley phone number.
It's suiting for sure.
It's perfect.
Yeah, just moved out there. So 357.
357 Shelley.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Jessica.
Awesome. So that leads us next on to our nosy neighbors, which of course, one of our values of our team is making an impact on our community. So we are out highlighting some local businesses. And of course, I say it every month, they are amazing businesses and so fun. So we went out, Mahana Fresh had their 1-year anniversary. They opened during COVID, to open a restaurant during COVID, but they were so grateful that the public supported them and they've been able to have a great first year. So that was really fun. The Downtown Barber School. If you guys didn't know, they just opened a barbering school at the Vogue Beauty Salon downtown, and it's super cool. Super cool that you can learn barbering right here in Idaho Falls, which is becoming a big trend as we see the beards coming in and the groomed, coiffed and those things. So also we went out to Mountain Ridge Ranch. They have a new owner, one of our favorite guys, Trent Tyler, and he's purchased Mountain River Ranch, and they've done some really neat things, and it's a really cool place to gather in Idaho for those that want to come. Also, if you haven't ever felt a minky blanket,
So soft.
so soft.
I never have.
So amazing. We actually visited them a couple of years ago when they were open in Iona, and they've now grown enough to open a store in Idaho Falls because they usually just sell on the internet. Most of their business is out of state, and they've grown so much locally, which made us feel really good about that. And then we went behind the scenes at East Idaho News, which was awesome. They are some really cool folks over there. Really cool folks. So if you haven't watched that, it's fun to get the behind the scenes, and they all really got nervous because they usually aren't the ones, they're usually interviewing, and then we were interviewing them. So that was really fun. And it's really nice because one of the local reporters is one of our buyers. She's buying a home, which is super fun. So, Nosy Neighbors, it's always fun keeping in the know and finding out about our local our local people and our local businesses. That's it, and that's the stats.
All right.
Stay tuned.